Hi, Steve Adubato, and I want to welcome you to a very compelling and important panel discussion on the challenges women face in the workplace. And we're honored to introduce this distinguished group. First, Taneshia Nash Laird is president and CEO of the iconic Newark Symphony Hall. María Tejada is the president of the Executive Women of New Jersey, and we'll talk about her law firm in just a second. And also Sereyna Wallace is the National Placement Director of NPower. Anna, tell everyone the firm you're at. You're a partner where?
I'm a partner at Saul, Ewing, Arnstein, and Lehr, and I work out of the Newark office.
Got this. Hey, listen, women in the workplace. This program is dedicated to women in the workplace. Let's go through this. The number one challenge you believe women in the workplace, particularly women of color, are facing in the workplace. Taneshia, go. Number one challenge.
For me, balance. I'm the chief executive officer of as you said, an iconic institution, but I'm also a mother. So balancing those dual roles is my challenge. You might have just solely been focusing on what my challenge is in the workplace, but frankly, I can't ignore the other things that I have to do. I have 2 full-time jobs.
Anna, let me ask you, you're balancing as well. Describe your situation at home and the challenge at work, please.
So I have to say, Steve, that the biggest challenge really during the pandemic has been just balancing, like Taneshia said, the work-life myth, right, that we talk about. And I have 3 children, 21, 15, and 5, but quite frankly, the 5 has taken all of my attention. And I'm an attorney, right, and I have clients and they have demands and I have to meet those demands. And so it's a little harder to do that when you're trying to be a full-time professional as you're trying to be a full-time stay-at-home mom. So quite frankly, I think the biggest issue that we're highlighting here is the childcare responsibilities that are placed on us.
Sereyna, let me ask you, number one challenge, however you want to take it, go ahead.
I agree with both Anna and Taneshia. I think on top of that, it is also about women finding a way to elevate the body of work illustrated on their resume. A lot of times women do juggle a lot. We have a lot of competencies, a lot of skill sets, and a great, robust, and comprehensive professional background. And because we juggle so much, sometimes we overlook putting those pertinent details on the resume to get our foot through the door.
Yeah, can we talk about mental health?
Absolutely.
Just put it on the table. Taneshia, go first. The issue of mental health and its disproportionate impact, not only of people of color, but women of color who are challenged in so many ways and are juggling. The balance thing is funny. What balance are we talking about here? Taneshia, take a shot. Go ahead.
So, I mean, during the pandemic, it really kind of, put it forth, right? So my kids were in 100% virtual, right? So we all did work at the same place. Typically, I would be looking at them right now because they would be facing me as I'm doing all of my Zooms. And it increased a level of anxiety in me. Right. So it's about, and I had to acknowledge that I had substantially increased anxiety because I was seeking to keep my eye on 2 places at once.
Anna, mental health issues.
Yeah, mental health, I think, has been exacerbated more during the pandemic. I think we tend to put ourselves last. And so, by putting ourselves last, I think it just kind of really made it very difficult for us. And so one of the things that I don't think communities of color are big on is therapy. And I think that that's something that we really do need to promote, and we need to really advise, women to engage in therapy to help them work through this process, because it's a hard one. It's not easy.
Can I say one thing, though, that might have only been the thing that came during the pandemic, that everybody had to confront this idea of mental health, and so it made it less stigmatized. And I'm hoping that it's something that we continue to do beyond the pandemic. But I definitely think during the pandemic, it was more welcome, the idea, because we were also dealing with a number of issues as people of color. We were not only dealing with COVID-19, but we were dealing with the trauma that comes from witnessing things like George Floyd being murdered, Breonna Taylor. So all of those things at once. And in our cases, also mothering, right? Children of color at that same time. And I know for us, at my job, I actually got a therapist for the staff, right? So for that, we were able to acknowledge that we needed some professional intervention, and I'm hoping that keeps on beyond the pandemic.
Well done. By the way, Sereyna, I didn't give you a chance to describe what NPower is, please.
Absolutely. NPower is a national nonprofit organization. We provide free technical training to military veterans as well as young adults ages 18 through 25.
I'm curious about something. Taneshia, you told our producers that we need to have a discussion regarding women in the workplace, distinguishing equality from equity. Are they not the same thing?
Oh, they're totally not the same thing. And I'm so proud that my 11-year-old knows the difference between equality and equity.
Thank you. But either way, I'm playing devil's advocate, okay?
You know, so well, I was really pleased to hear that she understood that equality is giving everybody the same thing, but equity is giving everybody what they need. And again, I hope in this moment we hold on to that, and this is not just a temporary reaction to the pandemics.
However, quote unquote, racial equality in the workplace, particularly for women of color, Anna, critically important. So it's not one or the other. It is both. Please, Anna.
Yeah, so absolutely. Look, I think racial equality is important. As an employment attorney, we always assist our clients, our companies to make sure that they have the policies in place, but that they also train their employees to make sure that everyone is respected in the workplace and that they have an appropriate complaint procedure in place if there are claims of discrimination, right? And I think, as Taneshia, mentioned with the George Floyd, death, that is something that really came out in the workplace. And so making sure that you have non-discrimination policies and you train supervisors and employees to act the right way and to make sure that they address these issues are significantly important.
Sereyna, talk about racial bias, racism, if you will, institutional or otherwise, when it comes to not just hiring, but promotion, particularly of women in the workplace?
Sure. One of the things that NPower does is we diversify the level of training beyond the technical instruction team. So beyond technical instruction, we are ensuring professional development training, and we're also infusing anti-racism. We are infusing diversity and inclusion, unconscious bias training, so that the young adults and military veterans that enter the workforce or are career changers re-entering the workforce, that they're well equipped to recognize what it looks like. And also, they can already have some ideas of solutions when they go into the workforce to be a part of the solution and not necessarily the problem.
What is 40 by 22?
Sure. 40 by 22 is an initiative that NPower has. We want to create this holistic impact of system changes. And it is our personal goal to have 40% of our trainees be women of color that enter the workforce. And we also want our Technical Instruction Institute to reflect that change as well. So 40% of our instructional team across the nation will also be women of color.
Can we have a discussion about, it's interesting, productivity? I'm big on this thing called productivity, at least that how I define productivity, right? But there's a debate going on, discussion about, hey, particularly in these days, what does quote unquote productivity mean in the workplace? Taneshia, take that on.
So one of the things that I noticed is during this time period is that I was working more, right? And this idea that I can do more. I mean, think about it. I'm sure I'm not alone that has been doing Zoom to Zoom to Zoom. And so this idea of increased productivity, this idea that this was a good thing, but it probably
more is better, right? More is better.
That it is not. It is not. It is not. And so that's something else to that we all had to sort of reconcile as well. And I found this with my staff as well. I found they were working longer hours and I had to tell them to stop. And I had to model by not sending emails in the middle of the night, which is something that I used to do pre-pandemic. That's right.
Time out. Hold on. We have 7 strong women who run this company on a day-to-day basis and a group of men, most of us, I'm out here, but we have a great team. Elvin and Frank and Scarlett and others, men behind the scenes, Sylvester and others who are working with us. But I'm curious. I still send emails at odd times, but I say, and I'm not going to make this about me, and by the way, Sereyna, I'm seeing you give me some sort of look. I say, listen, you don't have to answer me today, but it's on my mind right now. Are you saying that that's intrusive?
I'm saying that it can be, that to put it in drafts. That's what I started doing. I put it in drafts. Because again, it's easier for me to do so because I'm balancing all of the other responsibilities. And so it might be more convenient for me to send out an email after my kids go to bed, but it is intrusive, especially since I am the president and CEO, right? So I need to put that in drafts, right? And then send it in the morning.
One of the things that we've done, Steve, as well, to Taneshia's point, is making sure that we're practicing professional etiquette for everyone else that we work with and pre-scheduling those emails in advance. If you wanted to go out at 6 o'clock in the morning, 9 o'clock when virtual doors open is so much more convenient because we're all at home right now.
Stay with us and we'll continue the conversation.
Hi, I'm Joe Roth. In New Jersey, there are nearly 4,000 residents in need of a life-saving organ transplant, and one person dies every 3 days waiting for this gift of life. One organ and tissue donor can save 8 lives and enhance the lives of over 75 people. You have the power to make a difference and give hope. For information or to become an organ and tissue donor, visit www.njsharingnetwork.org and be sure to talk with your family and friends about this life-saving decision.
Also brought to you by the Healthcare Foundation of New Jersey, Bank of America, NJM Insurance Group, serving New Jersey's drivers, homeowners, and business owners for more than 100 years. ADP, Seton Hall University, showing the world what great minds can do since 1856. Johnson & Johnson, the Turrell Fund, supporting Reimagine Childcare. And by the New Jersey Economic Development Authority,